Okay, we're on page 321 talking about how we're going to change this header to make it centered both horizontally and vertically. All right, so I'm going to go to my nav guy and give it a height because we hadn't done that before. So I'm going to, whoa, not nav, header. Dang. So height, that'd be pretty cool. And let's go ahead and say, I don't know. Let's see what 100 looks like. That may actually look a little weird. Okay, that's cool. 100 is okay. But I want this centered both horizontally and vertically. How do I do that? Well, making it horizontal is actually pretty easy because we already learned how to do that, hopefully. It's called text alignment. So if I go to header and I go here and I say text align and I can say center. You know, this is kind of bugging me. I'm going to put a capital T there. All right, here we go. One more time. So that part's pretty easy, making it centered up, you know. But now I want to center it vertically. That, you know, there is no center vertically thing. So you basically have to do it yourself. Now, I will tell you a sneaky trick. All right, here's a sneaky trick. There is a text property called line height. And if I set the line height equal to the height of the image, the height of the box. So my line height is the same as the height of my box. I know this is kind of a sneaky trick, and I don't think the line height was really intended for that, but too bad. We're appropriating it because it makes it easy to you to center things vertically. There's another way. Another way is you go in there and you tell it, okay, I want, you know, padding at the top and padding at the bottom, and so you could even make up kind of numbers. Here's a bizarre way of thinking. I could say like 50 padding 50 above and 50 below, but you know darn well it won't be 50 because there's the text itself takes up room. So the machine's going to say, hey, that's too many numbers here, but I know what the hell you're talking about, so we're cool. So you can actually put bogus numbers in as long as they're large enough. And I don't like that one either. This one, at least, I'm not lying to the machine, telling it I'm asking it to be 50 above and 50 below. Anyway, that's the way you do a centering in a vertical. But text align, text shadow, sure, what the heck? Let's do a text shadow. The only problem is my goofy Internet Explorer isn't going to be able to do anything with it. But it's in the book, and besides, we've already talked about this when we were talking about text decoration. So I'm just going to go through these things, and if it's something that's interesting, I'll talk about it. If it's not, we're going to move on. So the text shadow, the pseudo classes, they have a way that they can have a skip to content. In their example, they had a skip to content that sat right there. So you could skip over some navigation or some introduction thing and go directly to wherever you wanted to go. But again, we've done pseudo classes before. We've done the hover. We've done the link and all that. It's just whatever the A tag is inside the header. So it'd be header space A tag colon, hover and then link and then visited and all the rest of those things. The navigation, we know how to do that, so there's nothing different. Almost everyone does navigation inside an unordered list, and then they take decorations out so that bullets don't appear. Take the hyperlink decorations out so that there's no lines. And okay, you know all that. Column images, that's boring. Text sizes for news, where you would say, okay, this news article is going to be like 80% of the normal size, so it kind of fits over there nicely tightly. Again, there's nothing new here. In fact, there's hardly anything new in this one, but I demoed it for the umpteenth time because I know, having taught this course before, a lot of people have trouble with getting these columns to come out. Okay, so now let's talk about printing, because printing is different. Printing, when I come time for me to print this page, I could just do right click, right, and print. I'm going to hit print preview because I don't. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like on the page. Great. The problem is, when I print this guy, none of my hyperlinks are going to work on the page, right? Like, newsflash, hyperlinks don't work on a printed page. Well, hey, unless you're a Harry Potter fan where you have, printed page that actually moves like a web page. But bottom line is, I don't really need a nav structure, all those buttons and stuff. I don't need that whole. Why not just take this part out? That way it'll give me more room for my text. Wouldn't that make sense? Because I can't use the nav structure anyway. So a cool trick when it comes time to printing is to alter the structure of your page so that things come out better on the printer. For example, maybe I don't want all these wild colors when I'm printing. I do want them when I'm viewing the page, but not when I'm printing. Maybe I just want to have white background everywhere. Okay. So basically what I want is like conditional formatting. If you're formatting for the screen, I want this. If you're formatting for the printer, I want something else. That's exactly what we're doing. Okay. So there's a media attribute. And the media attribute is that thing that says, hey, are we printing? Or are we on the screen? All right, let me show you how this thing works. The best way to describe the use of this is with an external. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create me an external CSS page. So let me go here, and I'm going to go to Add Style Sheet, and I'm going to call this one. By the way, the main layout page, I usually call layout. I'm just telling you. So there's layout. And I'm going to go here to this, and all I'm going to do is just copy and paste, right? Just grab this guy, copy, go to layout, and do paste. Okay, that was easy. Woohoo! All right, let me go back to this guy. So now I'm going to, instead of using this style here, I'm going to just take that out. Remember how to do this with link? All right, it's got several parts. So link is the first part. Then you have to tell what the hell you're linking. So there's a relationship thing. And this is going to be a style sheet. And then you would think href, right? I'd be going, where am I going to get this guy, right? href. So in this case, I'm going to use layout. And there are some other things. There's a thing called type. We actually tell it what type of file it is. But in most cases, like if it's a CSF, it kind of sort of already knows that. And so in this case, I'm going to go ahead and go down here to where it says style sheet. Here it is, text CSS. Cool. All right, so now I've completed this. Just to make sure it works, I'm going to go ahead and just run this in the browser. Render it in the browser and see if it works. Yay, it worked. Okay. So to make this work with a conditional formatting, I'm going to add an extra thing in here called media. Media, and then I'm going to say media equals screen. Ooh, isn't that pretty cool? So in other words, if I'm on the screen, then link this web page. If I'm not on the screen, then don't link this web page. Cool? So I'm going to go through and build me another style sheet. So we go here, add me another style sheet, and this one I'm going to call layout print. Okay. And I'm going to start with kind of the same information. So I'm going to cheat and just grab this so at the beginning, these two are going to be identical to each other. All right, let's go back to my guy. Whoops, here we go. Where am I? Oh, here. So I'm just going to copy this because it's kind of sort of the same, right? Except this one is going to be layout print. And the media here is going to be print. Cool, huh? So this basically tells me that if I'm asking for it to be printed, I want to do something different. So what are we going to do different? Well, I'll tell you what. There's a way that you can just turn off an entire section, like this nav guy. After he's still there, right? So I'm just going to go and make all this go away by just saying display none. That means it won't show up at all. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. So let me go here to main layout, and I view this in the print. So this shouldn't change because it should figure out that this is the screen, therefore I get a nav, okay? Now, When I do right click print preview, it's going to work, but not exactly the way you thought. So there is no nav. That little green thing disappeared, but that's not exactly what I had in mind. I really wanted I wanted to expand the room that's available. Right? Well, so just because you make something disappear doesn't mean that you've solved the problem. So I need to do a couple more things to this. So I go to my print layout, and so remember how we did the math here on main? So this was top, that was to the right, bottom, and left. I don't need that on the left anymore, do I? Okay. Now let's try that. I'm going to go back to this guy. So this is going to remain the same. I got the green, this is nav, and this is clearly not up against the left-hand side. But when I do print preview, ta-da! Now it has scooted over and I'm using it all. So I'm using more of the available space because I took the nav out. So, one more time. This is pretty doggone cool. This is conditional formatting. I want to format my page, and anything you want. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, in this particular case, we took the nav out and scooted the main over. But we could be talking about backgrounds. Everything that exists in that CSS file, you can make a change to. So if you want to look like this on a screen, or you want to look different on a print, boom. That's how this is done. Pretty doggone cool. So I know a lot of people who just don't bother, and so like you do like a screen copy when you do a print, it has all the nav and the footer and junk. It's kind of weird. So we're not quite done. There's a couple cool things that are added when you're doing printing that has no correlation when doing things in real life. Let's say, for example, I wanted to make a page break smack dab in the middle of this paragraph. Okay, like you know, if you've ever done Microsoft Word, there's a thing called widows and orphans. Have you ever seen that? It tells you basically where you want paragraphs to break. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my content page. And I need more text. Of course I need more text. Where the heck is the end of that peak tag? Okay, here it is. So I'm going to get me some more text here. Okay, so when I view this on the screen, what I want now is that when this is printed, I want that to start on page 2. Okay? Right there. Now, not what I'm viewing on the screen, obviously, but when it comes time to print, I want that to start over on a new page. So this is a directive that only makes sense when used in printing context. So I'm going to go to this paragraph, and I'm going to say style equals, only if I spell it right. Dang it. Okay, style. And the thing is, it's called page before or page after. So I'm going to say page before this. Okay, so page before. Page break before. And then I'm going to say always. Which means it doesn't, automatic basically means, I'll figure it out. But for this demonstration, I want to be able to show it to you. First of all, making this change, when I view it on the screen, I expect it to have no changes, right? Okay, cool. Because this only applies to printing. So now I'll go here to print preview, and there's page 1, and then there's page 2. Ta-da! We did exactly what we told it to do. Isn't that pretty doggone cool? So, extra CSS, specifically designed for printing. Okay, we're coming up on the 15-minute mark, so this is a pretty good place to stop. And we'll do media queries next.